Did you know that studies now show clutter in senior homes isn't just a matter of appearances? It's directly tied to higher fall risks, restless nights, and even feelings of anxiety. Imagine tripping over a stack of magazines by the recliner, or tossing and turning because the sight of an overstuffed nightstand makes your brain feel just as crowded as the drawer. Many older women tell themselves they'll get to it someday, but someday rarely comes. And so the countertop stays hidden under piles of unopened mail, the kitchen table disappears under craft supplies, and that junk drawer grows so full you're almost afraid to open it. But here's the surprising truth. Some women your age have cracked the code. They've figured out how to keep their homes peaceful, beautiful, and welcoming every single day, without exhausting themselves or living like they're constantly cleaning. And today, I'll reveal their 10 powerful habits so simple and effective, you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. So before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe. Because your calm, clutter-free home starts right here, and what you'll hear today could change the way you see your space forever. Let me introduce you to Dorothea Winslow, an 82-year-old retired church choir singer from the rolling hills of Tennessee. Dot has always been known in her community for her graceful voice and warm spirit. In fact, she still treasures over 30 hymn books, each one neatly labeled and stacked on a wooden shelf, as if her music library were a little museum of her life. But if you'd stepped into her home a few years ago, you would have seen a very different story. Dot admits she once lived in what she calls organized chaos. Every counter had something on it, drawers bulged with items she rarely used, and closets became hiding places for things she didn't want to face. From the outside, it looked manageable, but inside, it felt overwhelming. When her husband passed, Dot noticed the clutter around her wasn't just physical, it carried an emotional weight. Every stack of paper she avoided, every drawer she hesitated to open, seemed to echo the heaviness in her heart. She said, "I thought I was just keeping things, but really, the things were keeping me." That realization became her turning point. Instead of giving in to defeat, Dot decided to make small but powerful changes. She didn't overhaul her home in one exhausting weekend, and she didn't hire professionals. Instead, she adopted 10 simple habits, practical, doable, and surprisingly uplifting. Slowly but surely, she found her way not just to a tidier home, but to a calmer, more joyful life. And that's the secret we're about to uncover together. Dot's story proves you don't need endless energy to live in peace. You just need the right habits, practice daily, to let your home support you instead of draining you. Habit number 1. The morning reset. Dot swears by what she calls her morning reset. It sounds simple: make the bed, clear the nightstand, and pull back the curtains before breakfast. But for her, it became a cornerstone of peace. Think about it. Your bedroom is the first and last space you see every single day. If it greets you with tangled sheets, cups from last night, and shadows from closed curtains, your mind immediately feels heavy. But when Dot began tucking in her blankets, setting her hymn book neatly on the nightstand, and flooding the room with sunlight, something shifted. She told me, "It set the tone for the whole day. I didn't feel behind before I even began." For seniors, mornings can feel especially sluggish, but starting with a quick win builds momentum. Making the bed isn't just about neatness, it's about reclaiming control, especially when the rest of life feels unpredictable. Studies even suggest that older adults who follow a morning ritual experience reduce stress and sharper focus throughout the day. By adding just 2 extra steps, clearing away clutter from her nightstand and letting light spill across her quilt, Dot discovered her mornings transformed from heavy to hopeful. And here's the best part: this entire reset takes less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes that tell your brain, "I'm ready. This day belongs to me." If you've ever felt like your home is running you instead of the other way around, this first habit is your reset button. Habit number 2, the one basket sweep. Dot admits that for years, she wasted endless energy shuffling around her house, carrying one item at a time from room to room. She would pick up a book from the living room, walk it to the bedroom, notice a sweater there, carry that to the closet, spot a cup in the kitchen, and then, before she knew it, 30 minutes had passed and she was breathless, her knees aching, and the house still looked messy. That's when she discovered what she now calls her one basket sweep. Instead of wandering in circles, Dot grabs a lightweight laundry basket and walks through her home once. Every out-of-place item, mail on the table, socks by the recliner, glasses left in the bathroom, goes straight into the basket. No back and forth trips. No wasted steps. When the basket is full, she sits comfortably in one spot and redistributes the items to their proper places. Dot says it changed her life. It stopped the chaos. I felt like I was gathering control instead of scattering my energy. This simple trick matters even more for older women who live with limited energy, joint pain, or balance issues. Doctors warn that constant bending and walking back and forth increases the risk of falls and fatigue, especially in homes with stairs. But by consolidating everything into a single sweep, you save not just time, but your strength. Think of it this way: clutter spreads because it hides in little corners, an unpaid bill here, a hairbrush there. The basket sweep is like a magnet. It pulls scattered items into one place, making order feel manageable. And it's not just efficient, it's emotionally freeing. Dot told me she even made it a ritual. She plays a soft hymn, carries her basket, and treats it as a calming rhythm instead of a chore. Here's the key: don't overfill. Use a medium basket so it stays light and comfortable to carry. And don't stress if something doesn't get put away immediately. Even just moving clutter out of sight in one basket can make your home feel instantly calmer. So the next time you look around and feel overwhelmed, remember this: it doesn't take dozens of trips. It takes one basket, one sweep, and the decision to work with your energy instead of against it. Habit number 3. Declutter while cooking, 4:31 to 6 o'clock. Dot laughed when she admitted that her kitchen used to feel like a graveyard of good intentions. She had spices from the 1980s, 3 potato mashers, and drawers stuffed with rubber bands, broken pens, and take-out menus from restaurants that had closed decades ago. The clutter didn't build overnight. It grew quietly while she was focused on bigger things, like raising her kids, working in the church choir, and caring for her late husband. But one day, while waiting for her kettle to boil, she noticed the spice rack. The labels were faded, the jars dusty. Out of curiosity, she checked the expiration dates. Some had expired more than 15 years ago. That small moment became a turning point. She realized she didn't need decluttering marathons. She just needed to use the little pockets of time she already had. Now, whenever she's waiting for pasta water to simmer, bread to bake, or the oven timer to ding, she gives herself a mini task. Maybe she clears out expired condiments from the fridge door. Maybe she wipes the crumbs out of a drawer. Sometimes, she just tosses the stack of grocery receipts hiding under her microwave. Dot calls it her invisible cleaning because it doesn't feel like extra work. It's simply layering progress into moments that would otherwise be wasted. For seniors, this habit is powerful because it avoids exhaustion. Instead of setting aside hours for cleaning, hours that leave your knees aching and your back sore, you're sneaking in little victories that accumulate into big change. And it works beautifully for women who spend time cooking daily. By the time dinner is ready, you've already won a battle against clutter without even scheduling it. The emotional impact surprised Dot the most. She said, "Every time I tossed one expired jar, I felt like I was making room for myself, not just my kitchen." She didn't just see progress, she felt lighter, calmer, and more in control. Here's the takeaway: don't underestimate small actions. Decluttering while cooking transforms waiting time into winning time. Over weeks and months, those tiny efforts build a kitchen and a home that feels fresh, safe, and welcoming. Habit number 4. The 15-minute rule. Dot confessed that she used to treat cleaning like a battlefield. She'd wake up determined to conquer her entire house in one sweep, only to end the day with sore knees, stiff hands, and a heart heavy with disappointment. "It felt like I was running a marathon with no finish line," she said. For years, she thought the problem was her age, her joints, or her energy. But the real issue was how she approached the task. She learned that the secret wasn't in pushing harder, it was in pacing herself. That's when she discovered the 15-minute rule. Instead of pushing herself for hours, she set a small timer, just 15 minutes, and focused on one single task: folding laundry, wiping down a bathroom sink, clearing one shelf. When the timer buzzed, she stopped. At first, it felt almost too simple. But something remarkable happened. She realized she was making steady progress without the exhaustion. The pressure was gone, replaced with small wins that built momentum. This rule is especially powerful for seniors because it works with your body, not against it. Cleaning marathons often increase fall risks, strain arthritic joints, and drain energy reserves needed for the rest of the day. By breaking chores into short bursts, you're protecting your health while still creating a clean, welcoming environment. Doctors now recommend this very method, noting that pacing reduces fatigue and lowers stress hormone levels, giving older adults not just cleaner homes, but calmer minds. Described the emotional shift best. I stopped measuring success by how much I finished. I started measuring it by how proud I felt at the buzzer. Each 15-minute session gave her a sense of control, instead of guilt for not doing more. And when she strung a few sessions together over the week, the results were just as impressive, only without the aches and burnout. For seniors who often feel overwhelmed by clutter or cleaning tasks, the 15-minute rule is more than a strategy, it's a lifeline. It turns impossible into possible, heavy into light, and chores into achievable victories. Habit number 5. Surfaces stay clear. Laughed as she remembered her old way of living. Every flat surface in her house was a landing zone. The dining table, half covered in unopened mail and grocery receipts. The coffee table, a rotating collection of crossword books, spare reading glasses, and magazines she swore she'd read someday. Even her kitchen counters became the catch-all for bags, pill bottles, and keepsakes. She thought it was harmless until she realized every pile she walked past whispered, "You still have work to do." That's when she adopted what she now calls her clear surface habit, a rule older women with consistently peaceful homes live by: if it's flat and visible, it doesn't hold clutter. It sounds simple, but for seniors, it's transformative. Why? Because cluttered surfaces don't just look messy, they weigh on the mind. Studies show that the brain interprets visible clutter as unfinished tasks, raising stress hormones and draining mental energy. For seniors who already carry daily worries about health, finances, or family, a cluttered surface quietly adds another layer of pressure. The change began with just one small act. Cleared her dining table entirely, leaving only a vase of fresh flowers in the center. It was like the whole room exhaled, she recalled. The simple act of sitting down to eat without shifting stacks of paper gave her a sense of dignity and calm she hadn't felt in years. She carried this practice into her living room, where she allowed her coffee table to hold just one candle and a photo frame. Suddenly, her home looked polished, without hours of cleaning. The emotional impact was striking. A clear table meant a clear mind, said. For the first time since her husband's passing, she could sit quietly in the evening, sip tea, and feel truly at peace instead of being reminded of chores undone. Practical tips for seniors. Start small. Clear just one surface, the nightstand, the dining table, or the coffee table. Add one anchor item. A plant, candle, or framed picture can make the space feel intentional, not empty. Adopt the 1-minute reset. Each evening, take 1 minute to return items to their proper places before bed. By making this habit part of her routine, discovered that keeping surfaces clear didn't require constant effort. It only required mindfulness. For seniors who feel overwhelmed by the thought of decluttering the whole house, this is the secret. A clear surface is a daily victory that ripples peace throughout the entire home. Habit number 6. Smart storage systems. Confessed that for most of her life, she thought storage meant shoving things into random closets and hoping the doors would still shut. Her craft supplies were stuffed into grocery bags, kitchen lids were stacked precariously in cupboards, and her bathroom cabinets looked like a jumble sale. I wasn't messy, she said, but I was constantly hunting. That endless searching left her drained, physically from bending and shuffling, and emotionally from feeling like she was always behind. The turning point came when her granddaughter took her to Walmart one Saturday in 2025. To her surprise, the shelves were stocked with senior-friendly storage systems, rolling carts with sturdy handles, lightweight bins that didn't require bending, and brightly labeled organizers designed with larger fonts for aging eyes. It felt like the store was finally speaking my language. Laughed. The magic of smart storage isn't about buying more, it's about making items easier to find, easier to reach, and easier to put away. Instead of keeping her daily pill bottles scattered across the counter, Dot placed them in a small labeled basket. Instead of bending under the sink for cleaning supplies, she used a slim rolling cart she could pull out with one hand. The result? Less bending, less strain, and less frustration. Experts point out that clutter isn't just about volume, it's about access. Seniors who rely on systems like rolling carts in the kitchen, laundry baskets with handles, or clear bins with bold labels save hours each week. More importantly, they protect their joints, avoid falls, and reduce stress. Dot's emotional breakthrough came in her sewing corner. For years, she avoided it because the piles of thread, fabric, and buttons were overwhelming. With a 3-tier cart labeled needles, fabric, and notions, she transformed that chaos into creativity. "I finally wanted to sit down and sew again," she shared, eyes sparkling. The lesson: smart storage systems don't just tame clutter, they give back independence. By setting up a home where everything has a place, older women like Dot no longer waste energy searching, bending, or worrying. They spend that energy living. Habit number 7. Evening mini reset. Dot calls this her gift to tomorrow's self. Every evening, no matter how tired she feels, she spends just 5 to 10 minutes doing a mini reset. She fluffs the pillows on the couch, wipes down the kitchen counters, and straightens the shoes by the door. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming, just a small act of setting her home back to calm before bedtime. For years, she used to go to bed leaving dishes in the sink, mail scattered on the table, and blankets tossed across the sofa. She thought she was saving herself energy by putting it off. But she quickly realized she was robbing herself instead, because the very first thing she woke up to was yesterday's chaos. "It's like starting the day already behind," she said. Now, her mornings feel completely different. She pours her coffee while looking at a cleared counter. She walks into the living room and smiles at the neatly arranged space. Dot swears this habit alone has improved her sleep, her energy, and even her mood. "I wake up to peace, not a to-do list screaming at me." Psychologists affirm what Dot discovered: visual clutter adds mental weight. When seniors end the day by gently restoring order, even in just a few small areas, it reduces stress and sets the stage for restful sleep. This is especially powerful for older women, who often carry decades of caregiving and household responsibilities. The evening reset becomes less about cleaning and more about self-care, closure, and dignity. The beauty of this habit is that it scales. Some nights, Dot only wipes the counters and fluffs the pillows. Other nights, she goes a step further, like taking out the trash or setting the dining table for breakfast. The rule isn't perfection, the rule is consistency. By keeping the reset simple and soothing, it never feels like a chore. And here's the deeper magic. Dot says this habit gave her back control in a gentle way. After losing her husband, she often felt life was unpredictable. But the mini reset became a ritual she could count on, a quiet act of order that made her feel safe, strong, and cared for. Habit number 8. Say goodbye daily. Dot calls this her one small goodbye that makes room for 1,000 hellos. Every day, she chooses just one item to release: a chipped mug, a sweater she hasn't worn in years, an old magazine, or a kitchen gadget that never worked quite right. At first, she thought it would feel like losing something. After all, many older women grew up in times when you saved everything just in case. But what Dot discovered is that these tiny daily goodbyes didn't feel like loss, they felt like freedom. She remembers the day she let go of her third set of measuring cups. "I laughed at myself. Why did I think I needed 3? Saying goodbye gave me back an entire drawer." It wasn't about the cups, it was about the sense of control and lightness she felt afterward. Experts say this slow decluttering is one of the easiest and most sustainable habits for seniors. Instead of overwhelming marathon sessions that leave your back aching and your spirit drained, the daily goodbye method makes progress simple, gentle, and consistent. 1 item a day equals 365 items gone in a year, without ever feeling like a burden. And here's the emotional heart. Dot says each goodbye gave her clarity. The duplicates, the broken things, the papers she no longer needed, they weren't just cluttering her house, they were cluttering her mind. "Every time I let something go, I felt my home breathe easier. And so did I." The beauty of this habit is that it doesn't require energy, strength, or even much time. You could let go of something while making tea, folding laundry, or dusting a shelf. Seniors who practice this daily ritual often report that it becomes second nature, like brushing your teeth, but for your home. Dot loves to end her evenings by choosing her goodbye item. It's a ritual that reminds her she's moving forward, creating space, and building peace one small step at a time. And she sums it up best: "I thought I was losing things, but I was really gaining space for joy." Habit number 9. Invite fresh air and light. Dot calls this her invisible cleaning trick. Unlike scrubbing or wiping, it doesn't take strength or bending, but the effect is just as powerful. Each day, she cracks open a window, even if only for 10 minutes, and lets the natural air sweep through her home. For many older women, it's easy to forget that stale air is one of the biggest reasons a home feels stuffy or unclean. We spray chemical air fresheners, light overpowering candles, or plug in scents that promise mountain air. But the truth? Those synthetic smells often irritate aging lungs, trigger allergies, or just mask the problem. When Dot opened her bedroom window for the first time in years, she said, "It felt like my walls sighed with relief." The breeze lifted the heaviness in the room, and suddenly, even her sheets felt fresher. And here's the bonus. Research from senior wellness experts in 2025 confirms that just 20 minutes of natural airflow can reduce indoor pollutants and improve mood. It's not just about fresh air, it's about healthier air. Light plays its own role. Dot replaced her heavy curtains with sheer ones, letting sunshine spill across her living room. "I realized my house wasn't dark, it was my habits that kept the light out," she shared. Sunshine not only makes rooms sparkle, but it also helps regulate sleep cycles and lifts mood, especially for seniors who may feel more isolated. She pairs this habit with a simple joy, lighting a natural beeswax or soy candle in the evening. Instead of masking odors, it creates a calm, welcoming atmosphere. It's a gentle ritual that turns her evenings into a sanctuary, reminding her that a home doesn't just need to look clean, it should feel alive and breathable. The beauty of this habit is that it doesn't demand energy or effort. Just a cracked window, a lifted shade, or a softly glowing candle can shift the entire atmosphere of a home. As Dot puts it, "Fresh air and sunlight cost nothing, but they give me everything: peace, calm, and a home that feels like me." Habit number 10. Celebrate small wins. Dot says this is the most important habit of all, the one that turned her cleaning routine from a burden into a blessing. Instead of looking around her house and focusing on the things she didn't get to, she started pausing, literally for 30 seconds, to notice what she had already accomplished. For seniors, it's easy to fall into what experts now call clutter guilt. You wipe the counters, but your eyes drift to the messy drawer. You fold the laundry, but you're already thinking about the dust on the shelves. That constant not enough feeling robs you of joy and makes every task feel endless. Dot decided to flip the script. Each time she finished something, whether it was clearing her nightstand, wiping her kitchen counter, or fluffing her living room pillows, she would pause, take a slow breath, and say out loud, "That looks good." At first, it felt silly, but soon, she noticed how it lifted her mood. Instead of being overwhelmed by what remained, she felt energized by what was already done. She explained it best: "Every time I looked around, I felt proud instead of defeated." That shift mattered. It gave her motivation to keep going without exhaustion. And modern psychology backs this up. Research shows that celebrating small wins boosts dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, giving older adults more energy and a greater sense of satisfaction. This habit also creates emotional resilience. Dot no longer compares her home to how it looked 30 years ago or to her neighbor's spotless house. She celebrates her progress in the present. That mindset not only transformed her home, it restored her confidence. For seniors over 60, this isn't just about cleaning. It's about reclaiming dignity and joy in daily life. A clear table, a freshly made bed, or sunlight pouring across dust-free shelves are more than chores checked off a list, they are victories. Dot reminds us, when you celebrate what's done, your home doesn't just look cleaner, you feel lighter, stronger, and proud of the life you're still building. Let's take a moment to breathe and recap the 10 powerful habits that turned Dot's house and her heart into a place of peace. 1. The morning reset that sets the tone for the day. 2. The one basket sweep that stops back and forth exhaustion. 3. Decluttering while cooking, turning wait times into wins. 4. The 15-minute rule, protecting energy and joints. 5. Keeping surfaces clear for a calm mind. 6. Smart storage systems that make organization effortless. 7. The evening mini reset that ensures you wake up to peace. 8. Saying goodbye daily to lighten your load. 9. Inviting fresh air and light to refresh your space. 10. And finally, celebrating small wins, the secret to joy-filled living. Reflected on this journey with a smile. These weren't chores, they were gifts I gave myself. Each small step gave me back a little more peace, a little more energy, and a lot more joy. And that's the truth. These habits aren't about perfection, they're about freedom. They give seniors back the ability to live in a home that feels welcoming, safe, and filled with pride. So here's your gentle push. Start with just one habit today. Maybe it's clearing a surface, maybe it's the 2-minute reset, or maybe it's simply celebrating what you've already done. Every single step counts. If Story gave you hope, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend or family member who deserves a calmer, clutter-free home. And don't miss the next video, where we'll uncover 7 secret cleaning shortcuts that save older women hours every single week. You won't want to miss it.